Cheers,
successful 2023.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'll talk about whatever. My life's all kinds of crazy.
Because you have an Android.
Oh, yeah. That's what it is. Just suck.
Just subscribe already.
You look cool.
You look cool too.
Yeah.
You look cool too.
You look cool too.
That's debatable.
Thank you.
Everybody looks cool.
Well, you guys good? You guys comfy?
I think so.
Happy in your spot?
It could be warmer.
Could be warmer.
It's a little frigid in here, yeah.
We're boaters, man.
You guys are warm up. You guys boat in the wintertime.
We do with the right equipment.
I'm over here in shorts and flip flops, and I'm like,
Well, it's like an 80-degree day out, isn't
it's
it?
beautiful outside.
Yeah.
That's outside. It's like a beautiful 57 degrees down here.
Well,
Hot
it
shot
is
back
what it
to
is.
the
You guys
marina when we
will
get
warm
this.
up. Get some beers in you guys. You'll be just fine. You guys ready? Mm-hmm. Well, let's jump into this. Thank you guys so much for coming out to the podcast. Today we got STL Go Fast on the podcast. So Andrew Zeller, he's been on. He's a reoccurring guest. Lance Sutton, he's a reoccurring guest. And then Dave Hill in the back, he's a new one. But these are...
FNG.
Yeah, so basically I went to an event for HydroSeams. You guys had what was the event for?
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out, bring some people in.
Just a community building event, I guess.
Yeah, for HydroSeams.
Just river, not necessarily HydroSeams.
Oh, okay.
Just
But you guys, HydroSeams put it on, kind of?
yeah,
Or was it a group
okay.
thing?
Yeah, just a.
Promoted it.
That's why I went.
It was a promote. It was just to get back to the river.
Okay.
All your
Time to party.
river fit. Yeah.
Yeah. So
time again.
I went to it just to hang out with you guys, mingle. Haven't seen you guys in a while. Try to help support you guys. And then we were drinking and we planned a podcast. And I was like, I need to have STL Go Fast on. And I was like, who would be the best ones to have on? And you said definitely Lance and Dave. Are you guys like the OGs of the STL Go Fast?
I'm the new guy of the STL Go Fast, I would say.
But he would be the godfather of the Merrimack Mafia.
Okay, so a must.
Some of that.
A must. And STL Go Fast, before we get too far into it, it's like, it's just a legit, any boating fanatic is welcome in it.
I mean, honestly, it was a Facebook group that we started with a couple guys, and then it just blew up to be just an online forum of what we're doing in the St. Louis area.
Yeah.
It's not like a gang.
Yeah.
It's just a...
But you said, didn't you guys, I remember you said one time you guys just kind of started as a joke.
literally.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Standing on Two Branch Island just talking about boats and shit.
And you guys were like, we
Pretty
should
much
start
every Thursday,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
Sunday, every
It actually
Friday.
started...
Every day we can.
Go Fast Thursday was actually Go Fast Wednesday.
Go Fast Wednesday.
That's where it originally started as, and then...
Thursday used to be topless volleyball on Enterprise back in the day.
So that's why you couldn't do it on Thursday?
Yeah.
How'd you gave that up, huh?
Yeah.
For the boating.
Cell phones came out and
Don't need it
started
anymore.
sending pictures, and the topless stuff don't happen that much these days.
Oh, I see. I see. You guys are going out boating on Wednesdays?
Any day.
Any day.
Yeah, they all work.
But like the STL Go Fast group, you guys, Thursday is like a thing now, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
it's the day.
you guys,
Like if I put away one day of the week to go do something with my boat, it's on a Thursday.
yeah. But it's Thursday evening, right?
Thursday.
You guys all go to work
After work,
still.
yeah.
You guys just go out on the water. What river do you guys go on most of the time?
On Thursdays, it'd be the Mississippi.
Yeah, because you guys have like a bar you guys go hang out at, or no, the bar is only
There's
in
a
the
couple
winter
of
time.
them, yeah. But most of the time it's the beach. Everybody goes to whichever, like Two Branches, kind of their home base. Enterprise Beach is up there. That's another group that they kind of commingle now, and they plan events around each other's schedules. And it's pretty cool.
I guess it started as there's like a drinking club. They call them the Blur's Day crew. And so they'd just go out. A lot of them are retired, and I guess a lot of them, go to work, and I guess a lot of them don't work. I don't know. But that was one club there, and then I guess what happened?
They wanted all us young whippersnappers to join the party.
Yes, and
And we said Enterprise ain't the best beach for the little boats because it's steep. There's not a lot of room. There's traffic because the waves and stuff. So they came up to Two Branch and hung out. And that was what kind of spurred everything collaborating together.
We started hanging together because the Mississippi River floods a lot, especially in the spring. So, it goes up and down. And a lot of times you can't use our normal, the bigger, longer beaches that are lower to the water. The river comes up a couple feet. They're gone. And then the
Enterprise and 521 are about the only two you get to in our area.
Okay, so you guys kind of combined two groups.
in a way,
Yeah.
Just like people that had common interests, and you guys were just hanging out, and you guys were like, hey, we should just start doing this together.
Well, we went out there and we thought we were kind of being annoying, and then they ended up.
Now they all like us flying by.
Yeah, they like the flybys, and then one thing led to another, and then now when the Two Branch is out, all the like the Blur's Day crew, they come on up and watch us go.
They're not in. What boats are they running?
All kinds.
Anything,
all kinds.
Anything from a John boat to
house
a
boats, little jet boats. Some of them got fast boats.
Yeah, because there's no.
Never get you to the beach.
Yeah, there's
You
everything.
can have whatever you want
It doesn't matter. Nobody really gives a shit what you have.
as long as you got a boat that can get on the water and get you to the
A
coast.
39 MTI with twin 450s showed up one day while I was up there. I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, that's pretty legit.
God.
That is cool.
Yeah. Some cool boats. You say, like, there's a pontoon boat up there. The dude's rolling with twin 450s on the back of it. I mean, that's just awesome. To see that stuff out on the river. But there's everything.
It's not very often.
From that, there's $1 million boats all the way down to $200 boats. Yeah, whatever gets you out there.
Shoot, Tony showed up in a John boat with a trolling motor a couple weeks ago.
Who did?
It's a little extreme there.
Another friend of ours.
Patrico?
Nah,
No.
Tony Lubert.
Oh, Tony. Oh, I thought you said John. Well, I met the John, the
Patrico.
John Patrico at your last event. So I
He's a
thought
good
maybe
time.
that's who you were talking about.
Him and it's actually pretty cool what they do. They John and other guy named Darren, they pretty much cook for the whole beach.
Yeah.
Hot dogs, hamburgers, ribs.
Every Thursday.
Patrico.
Every
Bread.
Thursday, Patrico bread. It's just like they're community builders. They love their river family, and
They like to party and they want to see everybody there.
yep,
Would they be considered part? They're considered part of the STL Go Fast.
well, sure.
So they're just hanging out. They're part of it too. What made is he? Are they retired? How do they have the time to make all this food and bring it out to you guys?
Patrico's
Yeah.
been doing it a long time.
Yeah, you could say they're retired, I guess, in a way.
Partially retired.
Partially.
He must work for himself.
They
Works
do.
for himself,
Most of
so he
them
has some
do.
extra time.
Most of all those people.
Half retired.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Well, that's pretty cool to find someone that will bring you some food on the river,
Dude,
especially
and
when
it's
you're
good
drinking.
food too.
Oh, it's great food,
I
yeah.
eat better on the beach on Thursdays than I do at home.
It's true.
Well, what do you usually bring? Whatever? Something different every week?
Pulled pork,
Yeah, whatever.
burgers and hot dogs.
People pitch
Pizza.
in for food? Or like
Sometimes.
pitch in money for food?
Sometimes, a lot of times, they don't even want you to.
Yeah.
Really? I feel like it'd be
They
expensive.
just enjoy doing it. Oh, I'm
Probably
sure
a
it
couple
is.
$100 every week.
Yeah. That's quite the bill.
Every bit of it. Yeah.
And it's there religiously every Thursday.
But they cook it before they get on the water? No, they bring it there and
There's
cook
girls
it.
on the beach.
Grills on them. They bring the grills if they have to. I mean, they're dedicated.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Rico will show up, 10 people on the boat, grills, all the food, everything. And his little center console. Just,
So that's what he does. He comes and hangs out, drinks some beer,
Yeah.
and grills the whole time.
Pours margaritas for anybody who wants to.
My first experience up there was probably around 2003 or 4, maybe 4. A good friend of mine, Ian Williams, had just gotten done with a new tunnel hull. Like, I just literally got done painting it. It was running. Like, it was one of the first outings that he had taken. And somebody said, man, I think it was Thursday nights. It was like Topless Thursday or whatever they called it. Most of the topless that you saw up there was something you just would rather have not seen most of the time. But we come rolling in hot on this beach, and thought we had like 4 or 5 different jet boats up there. Ian had his new Gator. I had one that I just got done building. Buddy of Mark Weiss, he just got done with a big stereo system in his. We pulled up, and we hadn't been there 2 seconds, man. Here comes a St. Bernard running down the beach. I probably told you this story. And I mean, out of nowhere, Ian standing there next to his boat, and there's a bunch of people around it looking at it, and this dog jumps right in the middle of the top of the hood of his tunnel hull, and just it freezes, and he's like, "Oh my God!" And he goes to reach for the dog, and man, the dog does this. I'll never forget it. This Scooby-Doo burnout on top of his hood, and he's just screaming at the dog, and the dog's like, couldn't get it. Scratched the crap out of that brand new paint job. Thought the owner and Ian were going to kill each other, or I thought Ian was going to kill the owner of the dog. But
Did he pay for
Shiny
it?
paint causes.
you know, it was one of those things. It was just some surface scratches, and we buffed it out. But just the fear of looking at your brand new
Yeah.
tunnel hull
Some
and
dog
a
doing
The first time.
300-pound dog just
Paint
scratching the
wasn't
crap
getting up
out of it. That was our first experience up there. But it was cool because we showed up and there was like grills going, and this goes back a ways, you know. And I'm sure it was Patrico. I guarantee it was. What are you guys hungry for? You know, come on up and get something. I mean, back that far ago, they were just really just out there. Come on out and hang out with us, you know.
Welcome and
Neat environment.
Yeah, anyone that's into boating. That's kind of what I wanted to make sure I said try to say at the beginning is that anyone's welcome.
It is. It's really anyone.
You guys invited me to the STL Go Fast page, and I don't even have a boat, and it makes me want to go out and buy a boat
That's what it's for, man.
because it looks so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go buy a boat. Come have fun.
I will eventually.
Yeah,
I certainly will
Everybody
eventually.
needs at least 2 or 3 boats, really.
It can be done cheaper than a lot of people lead on to make you believe.
Yeah. What,
My coolest boat that I own is probably one of the cheapest boats on the water.
which is what?
No, I would
Well, it's an opinion.
57?
It's an opinion base.
Talking about the
jet
57?
boats wise. Yeah, my 57.
Yeah, I guess. But
Yeah.
You know, it's all.
The amount of work you have in it.
Right.
There's a lot of work involved, but it was either that or sit on the internet and surf Facebook. So go out and build something cool with your time.
It's like
Absolutely.
myself.
Do something cool.
I don't
He's
have
building
a lot
one
of
right
money in
now.
Mine, but I got a lot of work in it.
Yeah,
That one will rival the 57 in
yeah.
cool factor.
I'm telling you, there's a new fad coming with vintage boats. Like, I think there is.
Is this 57 that you have? Is it the one I've been seeing pictures of? It's like it has like a wood grain look to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we just got David Ryder down at Ozark Supply. Just did all of our sea decking. He does all my sea decking now. I think he's doing all of Twin Springs sea deck.
So that's real wood on it.
No, it is.
It's a paint.
It's a foam that is. You can do it in just about any color you want. It looks like wood. It's the color that I picked. It's a teak and with a black line underneath it. But it's a 2-part foam where you can get it in 3 pieces and have different colors staggered in it.
You can make it look like teak. You can make it look like
Neon
graphite,
green and black or whatever. You put any design you want. They just did one for HydroSeams. The whole back of the hood says HydroSeam.
Yeah, that's right. I think I've been seeing that.
He does all like our fender covers now. It says Gator. He just takes a CNC router and carves out whatever you want on it. You design it, carve it, and
It's a foam though.
Yeah, you glue it
boom,
down.
it sticks down.
I guess that's is that for the lightweight and the water? Like first
awesome.
the water doesn't warp it and stuff.
Now,
think of it as a
doesn't-
replacement for carpet.
It doesn't hold water. It's nice on the feet. Doesn't get hot.
it's hard to stain. Like you
It
can't
is
hardly
hard.
When I think of
to mess up.
foam though, I think of like the cheap packing foam that breaks.
No,
It's nothing like that.
This is like a real high density
density.
foam. Doesn't absorb water whatsoever. It's neat stuff.
Interesting. And you can paint it?
No.
No painting it.
It comes in color, and then it comes in sheets, and they come in with the machine, and
Wrap it.
literally just they come in, and like at our place, they come in, and we got a boat that we need some flooring on. We need it here, here, and here. So they'll come in with the machine, and they'll tap out certain points. What that does is it throws a measurement into a computer. They go in, that tells them their dimensions. They design something within those dimensions, stick it on a table, router cuts it, bring it to us, and we install it.
Dang.
It's cool stuff.
Is it new? Is it something that's kind of new in the market?
It's been out for probably 10 years. It's
I feel
really
like it's
taken
taken
over.
off quite a bit.
Relatively
local
new
market.
in the marine industry, I guess. Like you said, 10
Yeah,
years.
offshore it showed up 10 years ago probably, but it didn't catch on all of a sudden. Now it's just like on everything.
You think it'd be like you said it's a replacement for carpet.
Yeah,
Carpet sucks.
I believe it.
yeah it
Holds moisture,
doesn't
holds
hold
sand.
sand, dirt.
Feels good on the feet,
Yeah.
but if
Yeah.
you use your
When it's
boat,
new.
it's not.
I still like carpet though a little bit.
Yeah, I do
Well,
too.
I love carpet, but I got a dog and a 7 or 6 year old.
The difference between carpet and this stuff is you have to really make a floor pretty before you put it down. You have to paint it, a lot of prep work to it. Versus carpet,
You can cover
carpet hides a lot of ugly.
But this stuff, like a floor in a boat, it usually is has a perforated thing for the water to go under, right? No?
Like
Most
a
are
perforated
solid.
floor on a flat bottom John boat.
Some have perforated floors, but usually they're exposed. They don't carpet those most of the time.
It's a utility boat.
What's the purpose of the perforated over just a solid floor, though?
Lightweight.
Wait.
Is that what it is?
Water
Lets
drainage.
water and sand and stuff.
And some guys
to the
don't
bottom
like
of the
carpet at
boat.
all, so they just walk on bare aluminum, and
Like
it
if you-
stays cool.
If you're using it for hunting or fishing or a commercial,
Yeah,
I see.
you can wash
Commercial.
it out. You just doesn't show dirt, doesn't
Yeah.
whatever.
And
Yeah,
I'll
it
place
is.
it at the
Wash
bottom
it.
of the boat so you can't see it.
Right. Yeah, I could see, I feel like I've seen a lot of people put it in after they pull the carpet out. Maybe they're buying a boat and they're fixing it up and they just put that in.
Yeah,
it's
So they don't-
popular in the outboard John boat
Yeah, I feel like that's when I've seen it.
where you see 'em in.
Seen it popular. So you guys think it's something that's coming in the future for replacements on obviously they're not gonna build boats out of it, but the hoods on the boats and stuff, is that what?
Oh, absolutely.
Just
what they would
anywhere
do.
where you would see carpet or there's a place where it would be aesthetically pleasing to the eye, you're going to see it put there, whether it's on the side of the fenders or on the back of a swim deck or
Gotcha. What colors did you say it could come in again?
really just about any
Whatever you
combination
want.
you want.
Because it's in the mold. They're putting it's like
What it
they're
is,
putting
it's foam, and they put layers together, so you can have like a orange and black or a green and black or whatever, and it's just two layers, and they stick it together. It comes in a sheet, and then they cut out patterns, and then
so it doesn't even have to look like wood though.
no. So like most of the mini boats that you see on like these mini boat jet sites or Facebook sites, 99% of those things have this
a design chiseled into
styled
it.
foam, and it's a design of some sort. They'll have graphics on in them, and it's. I would tell you, it's probably it's been here for a while, but it's taken over the flooring and surface coatings.
But it has to be glued down.
Yeah,
So
it's not
Well,
glued. It's a
peel and
sticker.
stick.
It's peel and stick.
oh,
It's like a 3M adhesive where you just
I gotcha.
prep it
So you got to
really
prep
nice
it
and-
good.
If you have it prepped,
You prep it right.
properly,
Just clean
goes
it.
down nice.
Good clean surface is what it needs in pressure.
Yeah.
But
Use-
once it's
use-
down, I mean, it's
I could see a guy that does that flips boats, trying to do it real fast, not prepping it correctly,
Absolutely.
and then get some lemons out there.
you can't just pull carpet up and stick this stuff down.
Yeah.
You got to really, I mean, to retrofit it into a boat after carpet's been down, you got to grind all the glue off. I mean, it's a huge job,
Nasty.
Right.
huge, nasty job to do.
Well, all three of you guys, I want to know how many boats have you guys built in your life? Now, Lance. So anyone that's listening that doesn't know Lance Sutton, he just recently bought Gator boats. Not recently, 2 years.
We're going
ago?
on a year.
Going on a year.
Yeah.
So now the amount of boat building is even.
It's increased,
more.
yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But you bought Gator boats because of your passion for boats. So you were building boats much longer before that, and I know that Andrew, we talked about before, you've been building boats for a long time. You grew up; it's in your blood. It just runs through the blood. How many? And Dave, I just met you one time, and I know you're the same way. That's what,
Yeah,
that's why you guys
We're
are
not
also.
That's why we're friends, all three of us. We
Yeah.
share the same passion.
So, how many boats do you think you've built in your life? A rough
on
estimate.
the spot.
50?
No, not that quite. Probably 15.
Really?
Yeah.
How many? Don't you have damn near 15? That's because you never get rid of them.
You don't sell boats. What?
I've sold a few.
Yeah.
Helped a lot of buddies and taught a handful of guys how to, do, like when the STL Go Fast stuff started, and Dave and I would post our, projects of the HydroSeams that we've been doing, and people would message us and ask questions. What they'd buy one that'd be rotten, and they'd want to know.
Yeah, because I really like that process. That's where I love that art of it.
I think your better question, as opposed to how many have we built, because I don't think any of us really know. I couldn't
No.
tell you the answer to that.
Really
a
couldn't.
lot.
Yeah.
But the better question would be, how many projects do you have? How many boats are you currently building? Because all three of us are really guilty of this aspect, I think. How many you got?
Building. Actually, right now, I'm actually sitting pretty good. I only have two boat projects that I'm going to claim. It's a really cool 1960 something.
Ish, yeah.
It's a lot like his 57 in the aspect of like the vintage, but it's
3 times the
Same brand even.
same brand.
Duracraft,
It's made by Duracraft out of Arkansas.
That's a fiberglass boat?
No, it's an aluminum.
It is
boat.
aluminum.
They're all aluminum.
His famous Duracraft that everybody knows. It's a 14 footer.
Yeah, 14 something. Yeah,
14.
right at 14.
This one is a 19 footer with huge sides, like a fixed metal or aluminum frame windshield, and it used to have it was like a 60 something Evinrude 85, and got that, and I was lucky enough to do a lot of the fabrication with him, and we put a Mercury sport jet tunnel, so it's actually going to be, it's retrofitted with a modern 2.5 liter sport jet, kind of a jet boat standard inboard engine, I guess
By
you would
modern, he
say.
means early 90s, mid 90s.
Well, we were talking about
2000s.
Yeah, well, that's that's more modern 1960.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying.
Well, we talked about that at the event, that Mercury hasn't, the motors for a boat haven't changed a whole lot over the years, especially for Mercury.
Well,
That's debatable there. Yeah.
That Mercury engine's been around since. Are they still using that same motor?
no.
They don't necessarily use it anymore, but it's kind of like a 350 Chevy. Like, you can't order a new Chevy car with a 350 and a carburetor, but how many billions of the things are out there?
Yeah.
You know, so that's
20 years from now, there's still going to be people rebuilding small black Chevys.
Yeah,
In the
and
marine
same with
industry, as
2.5s.
far as the outboards go, there's still going to be people rebuilding the old 2.5 liter Mercury.
Gotcha.
they were steady standbys.
You got-
The platform was introduced in 1976. It went as the 2 liter, and then 2019 with the Pro XS, it was essentially the same design from 1976 to 2018 or 2019 when they released the Pro XS 4-strokes, or the new V6. So once they dropped the Optimax platform, that's when Mercury pretty much said no more 2-strokes.
Killed the 2.5 platform.
The 2.5, the last.
It'll be around as long as there are people building motors. There's still going to be 2.5s out
And there's
there.
aftermarket companies that come up, and there's a handful of guys that are
Yeah, you can damn near build one without having one. You know,
essentially.
Oh, wow.
You can build one aftermarket, damn near.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty. I mean, for Mercury, that's awesome to have a motor that they've had around for that long.
Just good reputation. You know,
Yeah.
Mercury controls the outboard industry right now. I mean, since Evinrude, Bombardier killed Evinrude, and that just kind of put Mercury on a platform. They've damn near got the market cornered.
Way up there.
Evinrude's like, is it?
They're dead. You can't.
The original
Really?
the original Evinrude went under in like 2002, and then BRP bought them out.
Bombardier, Rotax, Sea-Doo, it's a parent company, but yeah, they bought Evinrude, and was Johnson still?
No, I think they killed. I think 02,
That
the early
killed
2000s.
Johnson, yeah.
They didn't really. They just used the Evinrude
Their
name.
name placard.
So-
Then they just said, we're not going to do that anymore.
Well, I think they started with the G3, which was actually a cool engine, but I guess for some reason they discontinued it, and
And who's that? Who started the G3?
BRP. They had the Evinrude G3, which I think they made all the way up to a 300. And for some reason, I guess just the buying public now just doesn't want your average boat consumer that goes out and buys a brand new engine. It seems like they've been trained to think that a 4-stroke is always going to be better fuel economy, quieter.
I would say the biggest thing that's changed your world, like with offshore stuff too, the 4-stroke technology that's come along, and Mercury has come a long way with technology. That technology's it's badass now. It has changed offshore powerboating. Like 10 years ago, 3/4 of the boats that you would see on a major poker run would be, 1075s or 700s. I mean, they were all inboard V8s, and we were constantly broken down. If we'd take 5 boats down, one would break down before you got to Key West. Nowadays, throw a couple 450Rs on the back of it, you can run to Key West and back and on a tank of gas, and nothing goes wrong. You know, they're great to 5,000 hours. You got to maintain them, but
Sure.
they're just super
Like anything else,
reliable.
though, you got to
Yeah.
maintain it.
Yeah, they're super reliable. Whereas the 2.5s, they're badass, but they're on the edge all the time.
Yeah.
It's badass right now, but it could get lean here in about 2 minutes, and we could melt down. Or,
Damn.
yeah, or like they're cranking out so much horsepower, and you're pushing them to the edge with your horse, you know, and your props. And he snapped a drive line down in Florida this spring, a couple months ago. It was like a day killer. It's like, oh man, that stinks.
Yeah.
Luckily, we had a lower unit
Made for a good time in
a
the
couple
boat,
miles
right?
down the road. Yeah, we had to pit stop, change the lower unit, and back on the water.
Elbow
But
deep in the old girl.
yeah, but it's like a hot rod car. It's the same as any other sport. Once you start souping stuff up, stuff breaks.
Yeah.
Just part of it.
Gotta upgrade everything.
Stressing the stuff.
We've almost come to laugh about it nowadays. It's like, it's your turn today. I'll tell you in, you know.
Yep.
Throw me a beer.
And you guys know how to basically work on everything too now. So
You have to.
figured it out.
I can't afford to do it.
Him
with me
especially.
Working on it, let alone
yeah.
paying somebody else to work.
Dave, you need a drink?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, grab us a couple more close sodas. Well, when you guys were talking about it, that's kind of was what I was thinking. Like the 2-stroke to the 4-stroke, it had to be less maintenance too. Like just the whole.
I think in my mind you lose performance by in our world with the smaller performance boats. You're just by the time you add all the weight that the V8 stuff does, you can take a 450R and put it on a boat, and a 2.5 will whack that thing every day just because of
You have a 2.5 liter engine capable of some of them can crank 10,000 RPM, and it's a 320 pound.
yeah. They don't weigh anything. They spool up instantly because they're 2 strokes. I mean, for racing, the stuff that we're into, or just like, you know, pulling up next to your buddy and smirking and taking off, you know, and running up to 100 mile an hour. That kind of stuff,
Haven't got that
I don't
far
think the
yet.
4-strokes are going to
Thank you, sir.
ever catch up with.
Is that what's nice about a 2-stroke? They just got higher top ends.
It's just a cool power band.
Sounds cool and looks cool.
Yeah.
Smells cool.
What debatable on the smells cool.
Oh, I think it smells delicious.
Your fuel smells good most of the time.
That poor
That got that additive in it.
Right.
That and the
bubblegum
clots.
additive, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think 4-strokes are going to overcome the 2.5s.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long
They have their
time.
place, though.
I said that with 4-wheelers too, and then 660 Raptors came along. I was like, damn, that's badass, you know.
I mean, I hope
Torque monsters.
Mercury's listening because
Yeah.
it
Hello,
would be-
Mercury.
Yeah,
Are you in there?
Yeah.
Sport jet. We need Mercury sport jets, please.
We
Please.
need that.
Bad.
And then if they
Really
make
bad.
with the new Mercury 200, 250, 300 4-strokes, if they made they make long shaft performance options. They call it the 250R and the 300R.
Yeah.
If they made a shorter midsection, like you call it like a short shaft or, you know, a race dressed outboard for a consumer, which would back in the day would be a Mercury Pro Max, and I guess a lot of the people in the boating community knows what a Pro Max is.
Bass boat stuff.
Can you explain it for anyone that doesn't know?
Well,
like myself.
Your standard outboard for like a bass boat or just a typical fishing boat, inland fishing boat, has a 20-inch midsection. Now for the offshore stuff, you can get 25, you can get 30-inch just because of the bigger transoms on the boat, you know, made for bigger seas. But just in this area, your standard shaft is going to be a 20-inch midsection. A lot of our performance boats, you know, you get everything, the center of gravity lower, so you go to a 15-inch midsection. You're able to bring the center line of the prop shaft up closer to the bottom of the boat, which increases efficiency.
And you're able to bring the heaviest part of the whole boat
Down closer, because generally speaking, you got a 200-pound power head. You know, if you take your jack plate and you jack it all the way up, and you're trying to balance a padded boat, and I guess it's kind of hard to explain without like a picture.
You move the weight from up here to down here. It makes it easier to drive.
To drive, that balances the boat out. A lot
Sure,
of
because
people.
it's not as top heavy.
It's not as top
Better
heavy.
balance.
Yeah, is that like a center of gravity? Just as a lower center of gravity?
Yep.
Does.
for the balance.
It'll
of the
take
boat.
some weight out of the.
And it changes the leverage that the motor puts on the boat as well.
It really does.
So it doesn't torque the boat as hard.
Yeah, because it's not as high.
Right.
Right. And it's weird how much, until you really get into going fast, and you guys both know this, but a lot of people don't. Like, people just stick a motor on the back of a boat. It's like, let's go boating.
Right.
I mean,
Hammer down.
If you ain't
There-
got
there
it
is-
right, you're gonna.
oh my
you're
God,
not
there's
gonna
so
work.
much to set up. And I didn't realize that until I got into like racing really hardcore and noticing how much an eighth of an inch or a quarter inch of height, which means the center line of your prop shaft, moving that a quarter of an inch.
In relationship to the
bottom of the boat?
at level.
So if you got a level bottom here and your prop shaft's level with it, if you go up a quarter inch, and you can gain like 3-4 mile an hour, you can go up an inch and gain 10 mile an hour. It's like, holy crap.
So the higher up it is,
Less
To a point.
less
To a
drag at some point. You know, you're shedding a lot of.
Depending on your intended purpose and your application.
Yeah.
You're
You
not
still
going to
have-
I'm
have.
talking in the racing.
Yeah.
We're talking racing right now.
For the average consumer, stick a motor on it and go
Yep.
45 mile an hour and they're happy. But when you're trying to go 150,
Yeah.
that's when things get weird and you have to just really play with height. And
But you want the prop to be up above.
every boat's different too. Every boat is going to operate completely different. Even like in our world with jets, a tunnel hull is not a tunnel hull. Every one of those things is like its own animal. We've got basic things that, okay, this usually works in this direction. But
And you start from there.
when you start from there, and it's like a baseline. It's like, this has always worked in the past. Let's try it on this one. Man, it usually works. But sometimes it's like, damn, that didn't work. So every one of them
different on
is
this
completely different. And every boat that these guys do, like every bottom guy, you know, if you're getting these vintage boats from the 70s, chances are that bottom has been worked 2 or 3 times. You know, you don't even know where it started. So
and then
sometimes-
you're stacking twice the horsepower that
Yeah,
it's
they were
original
intended to.
that it was originally intended for. You know, back then they had the 140 horsepower power, and that was the
Bad
bad
boy.
boy of the day. And then
Still would like to have one. I don't have one.
I mean,
I mean, we'd like to have everything.
yeah, we would.
Facts.
Yeah, you just ain't got one yet. You probably will one day.
All in time.
He's got one. He just
I don't.
So it comes down to all about how like the boat's sitting in the water too.
Dude, there's so much.
There's a lot of factors that go into
Everything, yeah.
what plays into
lot.
it.
And every one of us is still learning. Like, you don't ever quit learning that. And literally every boat's completely different.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what we like about it. It's just the challenge of, all right, let's take this thing and try and make it fast and then make it faster.
And you can talk to 4 or 5 different people that have similar boats, and they all have them set up different.
Yeah, every one of them.
And every one of them's going to drive different.
Yep.
and it's
crazy
I
how it
think
happens.
that's the most exciting part is taking a performance boat and then piloting it. And that is whether it's a padded V bottom where you have a 12-inch wide pad and it's not just barreling through the water. You're basically skipping just.
You got to balance it
just
on
You
there.
got to balance on a piece of 2x4.
time,
Literally.
That's all that's in the water.
2x6.
That's all that.
Yeah, you're gliding on a
moving that.
6-inch
that a
plane.
skeg and half a prop, and that's another thing. Like once you start what they call
Surface driving.
surfacing or propeller, one blade is out of the water pretty much at all time
2 in my case.
with a 4-blade.
It
Yes,
doesn't matter. I mean, if you got a 5-blade or 6-blade even.
half the prop is
The
always
further
out of
you
the
get
water.
that prop out of the water, the weirder things get, but the faster you go usually.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lose steering.
And when it
That's a
starts to
scary
feel
feeling.
weird, you got to hold on and keep pushing the throttle pedal down because that's when the fun starts.
So my worst boating.
You guys got to be experienced for that. If you guys are listening, you want to get some experience before you start taking that advice today.
Just don't come out and try to be He-Man the first time. That's what's going to
Absolutely.
get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Learn how the boat drives first.
Yeah. Well, getting up out of the water probably creates less like friction on the boat.
The less
Drag.
The less
It's all about
pressure you
drag.
touch
Yeah.
the water, the faster you'll go.
Yeah.
The idea is to get all of the boat out of the water. At
That's
that
funny
point-
that it's a
Term
boat, but
pilot.
you need to get it out of the water to go
It
faster.
almost turns into an airplane.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
The ones that Andrew and I run, in the fiberglass world, in our tunnel hulls, they're designed. They're a flying wing. They're they're trapping air and lifting the boat out of the water, and that's why they go faster. You know, you're just
Riding on
creating
a
less
cushion of
drag.
air.
Yeah.
And you have just the bare minimum in the water propelling you.
Yep. And then with a
Less
and
in,
then with,
less in the
efficient
water,
way
the
possible.
faster you go.
and then with a V-pad boat, basically, you're running on a water ski.
Yeah.
But a lot of these race boats, you guys aren't running props on them. It's jets, right?
No.
These are
It is a prop.
These
His
are all
world,
props.
They're jets.
Yeah, and in the Gator world, they're all jets, but in the STL Go Fast,
Most of them are
99% are props.
There's a lot of jets.
There are a lot of
There's
jets.
a lot of jets out there.
The faster boats are all props.
Facts.
I'm gonna say,
I'll agree with that.
yeah,
Really?
yeah. I mean, there's
takes-
Are props or jets?
they're all props. Most of the
In
the
STL Go
Mercury
Fast side of
Oh,
things.
okay.
It
Mercury
takes-
2.5s up
it
on
takes
the
a-
Mississippi.
Generally speaking, it takes a lot more horsepower for a jet to achieve the same performance as a prop, just due to the propulsion.
Right. You lose so much power. You lose so much in a jet setup.
But that's not to say a jet can't be as fast as a prop.
Facts.
And I'll argue the acceleration part. Like I think most of the time a jet's going to out accelerate a prop.
Absolutely. I will agree with that.
Yeah.
Why is
in,
that?
in race form? There's a lot of technology to how we take off versus they've got to get the boat up in the
gotta
air
get the boat out of
and
the water.
move
You got to get the boat flying.
and start flying it. And they're
jet's
trying
gonna
to
be
do it
pushing
with
the
a
same
prop
amount
this
regardless.
big, that's spinning with a 2-stroke. And it takes a second for them to spool up where we may have 1,600 horse with nitrous or whatever boost instantly. That's hooked up like
They're at their
It's a
top.
drag race.
They're at their top speed at 400 feet.
Yeah, usually.
Whereas a prop guy, let's just say that the speeds are, I guess generally the top. You'd have more top speed out of a prop, but that prop at the end of the track has got to like run down a jet.
Right.
They're going to have them by 20 mile an hour, 25 maybe to catch you
In a thousand
in a
foot
1,000
race.
foot. Yeah.
I want to talk about the racing part of it, like how, because there's boat races every year. Gator Boats has races every year, right? But more people do the races too. It's not Gator
yeah.
Boats aren't the only ones that put it on.
There's outboard jet races like that are just specifically for that. There's getting ready to be some here this
the current.
spring. Down on in Van Buren. Look them up on Facebook. The Van Buren Boys, I think, is what the group is. But they're sponsoring a race, and I'm sure there's going to be some cool outboard stuff down there.
That's down south,
Yeah.
South Missouri.
Down on the Current River.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to talk about how the jets are actually like how, because the jets in a jet, the prop is actually like inside.
It's in a tunnel.
It's in a tunnel, right? And it's
It depends on if you're talking outboard or inboard jet.
they're set up different.
Yeah, totally different. So we take the exact same platform well, here's a perfect example. I bought a HydroStream, started hanging out with Andrew, bought this vintage HydroStream. A buddy of ours Eric Kime went down to Texas, picked it up for a motor. He wanted the motor, and he knew I was looking for one. Calls me, says, "Hey, I got a boat. Why don't you buy this hull?" Bought the hull, and I said, "All right, we'll find a motor." Good friends with Drew Thurman down at Twin Springs Outboards. Told him kind of keep his eyes open. He found what year is that? A 91?
91. Yeah.
Yeah, 1991 200 Merc.
2.5 liter.
2.5 liter. It's the same platform that we're talking about. It was on a jet boat, had a jet shoe on it and the whole 9 yards. Bought it. It was running, I think the guy told me it ran like 47, 48 mile an hour on a 1856 or something like that, flat bottom John boat. Put it on this, took the jet off, literally bolted a lower unit on it. That's how it is. I mean, they're interchangeable. Mm-hmm. Bolted on this prop. Well, we had that thing. Ronnie had it at 92 or 3, something like that, 92 something.
Whoa.
90.
Yeah.
I'd have
Same motor.
upper
Same exact
mid-90s.
motor.
Speed.
Same motor.
Literally, we put some spark plugs in it. Didn't have to, but we just did, It kind of did a mild tune-up.
Make you feel better anyway.
Yeah. So there's a huge loss in
Propulsion.
when you go to a jet in an outboard style. In the inboard, you still lose some, but it's not as great.
More inline.
Yeah, it's more of an inline, what you were talking about, where the impeller is inside of a bowl.
Yeah.
And it pressurizes water.
I guess I've never seen on an outboard, the jet on an outboard, only on an inboard. That's why I was thinking that.
Yeah. So, and they both have their place. You know, the inboards, obviously we go way faster. I would say handling's a lot better, but there's places where you can go with a 60-40 stick steer outboard jet that it'd be hard to get to, you know, with anything else. So,
And straight up the cost.
yeah. And the cost is like, man, you can get into one right, you know, way, way less than you can an inboard most of the time. So I think we're pretty versatile in like we all have different boats. Like I own a jet boat company, but man, I freaking love my fiberglass outboard prop boat. Love it. And I love offshore. You know, that was a huge part of my life for a long time. And these guys, Dave used to work for MTI, one of the, if not the largest offshore catamaran company in the world. You know, they build some of the coolest boats you ever see. That's an MTI. Dave worked there.
There's some dumb stuff that comes
Oh
out.
yeah. So like we all have this passion for, it doesn't matter if it's a rowboat or a freaking,
Just like cool stuff, man.
yeah. Or a,
I've heard you guys
skater.
say it a million times. I just love boating.
I don't
just
care,
love boating.
man. As long as it's got a motor. I don't know about the sailing thing. That seems a little boring.
I got some buddies that are into that, and I haven't been.
Maybe when you get older and you slow down a little bit.
I ain't getting that
Too
old.
much
Man.
work. You gotta do things. I get in my boat. I sit in the
I know-
seat.
I know-
crack a beer, and I hit the key.
I know a lot of older guys that still love their high performance boats.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's a lot less work. The sailing is a lot of work.
I don't know if it's less work if you want
Yeah,
to go
It's just
fast.
it's less work off the water, I guess. Or-
That's because you guys are building these race boats. But if you bought just a nice inboard or outboard, it would, and you winterize it, maintain it right, you probably wouldn't have to do much to it.
No, there's zero maintenance to them if you got the right boat.
Yeah, you just take care of it. Because I know a lot of people that have a Gator boat that they get it winterized, and then in the winter they put it up. Summertime they bring it back out, drive it up and down the water.
Pretty
why I
easy to
like my
winterize
outboards.
ours, but like the outboard stuff, literally,
Trim it
man,
down, let it drain. There's your
you
winter.
pull it out of the water and you're winterized. It's like we literally boat all winter. We've both got
I've broken ice to get out of the harbor many a times.
Yeah, it's that's part of it, man. You just go when you can, and the equipment you use, some of it just self-winterizes. It's awesome.
That is awesome because it's one of the only industries that, like, there's different makes and models, but it seems like everyone in the boating industry gets along. Like, for the most part.
It's like anything else. There's got a few people out here that, yeah.
There's a lot of, like in the performance world, there's a lot of anti-jet, anti-prop, but
Sure.
I mean, I could see through all that stuff. I mean, all I care about now is just actually, and a lot of what we do is not even performance stuff, like the mini boating. Like on an average weekend, we're not even really racing. We're just
fucking off.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing.
Go push him, I guess. He got her stuck again.
So
That's your next adventure. Like we need to do a live podcast. Like you need to bring a GoPro and be like, all right, this is the Ryan Lewis podcast, and today we're doing it from
We're gonna be on
freaking
Indian Creek.
Gator Mini.
There's no water today, but we're going to see how far we can go.
We're gonna see how far we can go on the Bourbeuse or
That
Indian Creek
actually
or
would be
whatever.
pretty cool.
Ah, dude, you would love it.
Andrew, have you ever been on the Bourbeuse?
Yeah.
Have you? I didn't know if you have been. Well,
it's
how far
awesome.
is the Bourbeuse? The Bourbeuse don't go up by you, though, does it?
Well,
Merrimack runs behind you.
Yeah, I live on the Merrimack, but yes.
He's not far from where it dumps in.
Hell, last Sunday, you and I went up to the Bourbeuse.
Yeah,
Past
from
the
his
Bourbeuse.
place.
So because I guess I only know where the Bourbeuse goes up through Union, Missouri, but does it cut up
It dumps
backside
into,
of?
it dumps into the Merrimack.
Oh, okay.
It comes all the way up here by spring, like
Spring-
Japan.
Yeah.
All through up through there. I mean, it
Yeah.
goes a long ways.
Yeah, that's how I know it because I have a farm out here, like right out Spring, Japan.
Yeah.
And then it comes out, and I've floated it a bunch, but I never really knew where it went after Union, Missouri.
And I'm going to say that it's rarely boated. Like most people just think of it as like this lazy little creek that you can't really do anything on.
The ones I want to explore.
And I did. I'm guilty of that. Like for years, I mean, I lived within 5 miles of this body of water, and I would always drive over and think, that looks kind of murky down there.
Yeah.
And one day we just decided to take minis out on it. Buddy of mine, Matt Brinker, and a couple guys are like, yeah, we're going to hit the Bourbeuse. Let's see what we can do. Holy crap, about 2 miles up from the Union Access there, I'm like, this is like a mini Merrimack. Like, it's a beautiful river. And the further you go, the prettier it gets. And you got to have the right boat to navigate it, though. You're not going to run it in a normal boat.
That's a whole other style of boating other than
That's
high
like the
performance.
extreme stuff. Like,
Off-roading in a boat.
You're going wheeling in a boat at that point, right?
Yeah.
It's rock crawling, it's rock bouncing, and we literally do rock bounce.
I think that's what I would like the most.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's not when you
more
hit.
adventure for
It's
me.
when and how hard.
yeah, how bad's it gonna hurt? Oh man, they hurt. Especially when you're not expecting them. You're like, oh man, this is beautiful. 3 foot in the air. Yeah, there's a big one.
Well, especially when you don't know it too.
Oh, it's
if
like
you
it's
did it
out of
more, you
nowhere.
kind of figure it out.
Some of these, like the Bourbeuse, is bad because there's no current in it a lot of times.
You call them hell runs.
Yeah, you're rolling along, and there may be a boulder the size of this table about that far under the water, and if there's current, you can see it. It creates a V. But if it's not, there's no current. It's
just
like
there waiting
it's just
for you.
floating, waiting. You're going, come on.
Have you been out this far on the Bourbeuse? Like, have you?
Oh, yeah.
Floated out this far? Have you?
We've been. I think the furthest I've personally been was about 5 miles above Mill
Rock.
Rock.
Yeah.
Like somewhere in that neighborhood. It's about the furthest I've been in a boat, like boating. And
That'd be like right at my farm.
Yeah, and all the way down to the Merrimack. Man, but you can go further, like way further. Randy Petsu and John Licklider and those guys, that's their backyard, so they keep going from there. You know?
Randy's about the only person I've ever seen on the Bourbeuse.
Yeah, it's like nobody boated it, and Randy started building extremes, back in the early 2000s, and all of a sudden it was like, holy cow, you can actually boat on the Bourbeuse River. That's badass. And now that technology's turned into these mini boats, with the shallower bottoms and jet ski motors to save weight, and because Mercury, doesn't make the sport jet anymore.
Yeah,
If Mercury's listening, we
really
sure
like sport jets.
We love sport jets. We love you, Mercury.
So
A 300 would be really cool.
They discontinued them.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it was built on their 2.5 liter platform.
Which
and
they
when they
discontinued.
discontinued the 2.5
The
liter,
sport jets are the same block, basically, different crank, right?
that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
Spline count's different.
I mean, we
The crank's different,
essentially yes.
but it's really the only difference between these boats, the motors that we're running on the back of our fiberglass boats.
Yeah.
The power head's the exact same thing that they made.
Why do you think?
Most of the
Why do you
sport
think they
jets
quit it?
Because they killed two-stroke technology.
And
Thanks, federal government. We appreciate that.
It's the EPA for you.
oh, that's why they had to cut it. Oh, I see. Is it because
And
of the oil that's
technology
in it?
changed. I mean, I could say that too, but I would tell you that the EPA probably had a huge factor in it.
Well, that started in, I think 2006 is when they pretty much killed is when they actually had an emission
Quota.
quota or qualification for an outboard, and
They choked it down to where it was not feasible to even make the damn things.
But that's at like a commercial level. The emissions is whenever Mercury's putting it out.
Yeah, but they have to produce a product that's going to meet federal emission standards.
Yeah.
And if that means we can't build these cool motors anymore, well, we're going to go to four-stroke technology, and that's what they did. And technology surpasses things, But I don't think for performance you'll ever reproduce that with a four-stroke.
Would you?
I could be wrong. I hope I am, but
Yeah. I mean, you think they would be able to?
weight.
With the,
It's weight.
That's the big
Weight.
part of
It's the
it.
nature of the beast.
I would say the
size
only
of
The
thing
valves you have.
that's going to
timing
solve it is
components.
boost. Like
And that just creates a whole other
Yeah,
problem
more
in
boost.
itself.
Well, I feel like that's why Mercury released their new 400 because they realized that bigger displacement without boost lasts longer.
the V10s, the new V10s are out. Mercury just released a whole new line of motors for offshore stuff mainly, but it's V10 technology and it's cool. And they've got better
V10.
torque. Yeah,
V10. They actually have a V12 too.
yeah, it's
A
a monster.
600.
It's for pushing a lot of weight.
Huge.
It's a refrigerator.
It's not
I was
a,
saying it's got to be big.
it's not a performance boat.
It's made for pushing like.
Big fishing boats, center consoles.
It seems like Mercury's even going away from like the Chevy based.
No, completely.
Yeah,
Would it be like houseboats and stuff too? Would have
I
too
think
big for that?
Well, I actually own a Gibson houseboat.
Yeah.
And I kind of follow their stuff, and they just kind of revamped the company. And from what I understand, all new Gibsons are going to come standard with Mercury outboards now. That's the way the industry's going.
Even cruisers like at
I would much rather
Lake of the
have
Ozarks,
outboards
Sea
on a
Ray,
house.
most of the major cruiser brands, it was diesel technology and the bigger stuff. Well, now they're going to these pods and they're building these humps around on the back of the boats, like where your seating normally is, or like a swim platform will be. And they've got these boxes that lift up, and underneath there'll be four outboard stacked underneath there. And they've got the technology down to where you can joystick control them to where one motor will go one way and the other will go the other, and you can
For maneuverability.
Yeah, thing
push a
around a
boat
dock all day
sideways. I
long.
mean, it's just that technology has surpassed anything that we've had forever.
Yep.
You know,
Would you guys say that like the lake boating and like on the sea, is that bigger than the river? Because from what I gather, river boating's kind of
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, but it's
It's the no frills working man style of boating in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
You still see a lot of old boats.
not everybody can go out and spend 100,000, 500,000, $1.5 million, you know,
Or a
whatever
lake boat.
in offshore stuff. So
Not to mention, just use that boat to go to the bar and spend another
yeah,
$500 on
they
deck.
didn't drop $2,000 in gas just to get there. But, you know, in our world, a guy can literally buy a $2,000 boat and put a shine on it and come out and be proud as he can be. And
Park
we're all
right
gonna,
next to a $100,000 boat.
Yeah, and we're all going to go over and look at that guy's boat. Like Andrew and I literally took a guy's boat out one day, and it's probably one of my favorite rides of last year. And I think the guy spent like $2,500 on this old. What was it?
A Glastron.
Glastron.
Oh, hurlbutt.
what is it
Yeah.
called? Like Glastron?
It was called a Glastron Carlson. It's 16-foot boat.
Like
Just
a 60s or early 70s.
Early 70s boat, had like a wood grain dash, and obviously it was really well taken care
mint,
of.
like mint.
And when you look at it, you know, it's got the old metal flake. It's got all that old, like lush,
Cool stuff.
back-to-back
Oh,
interior.
yeah, like you could sink in the interior.
Yeah,
It's like
and it had that like
pleated.
old Chevelle style wood grain like sport wheel that you'd see in like an old muscle car, and
It was like it was stinky, like it was in your grandpa's garage. Stinky, you know? It had that musky smell. To
Yeah.
And we were like, "Hey man, can we
take
drive
your
this
boat?"
boat?" He's like, "Yeah." There we-
And for $2,500 to be in
Yeah.
that good condition?
Dude, it was freaking mint. I mean, it drove like a Cadillac.
Did.
Like,
It
it
drove-
was
Deals are
awesome.
out there. Deals are out there for sure.
So literally in this world, you can have just damn near anything. And everybody, I think, in our world most of the time is appreciative of most of the stuff. Like there's guys that'll be like,
If you're
"Oh,
like
but
us,
There's a few boat brands that we call them snobby. And yeah,
Oh, Alice.
I think everybody has that.
the Allison
But
golf.
you're going to catch hell over that. You got Allison buddies.
Country club.
But they're all going to watch this go, really?
That's all right. I'll park my Ready HydroStream right next to him.
But and most of our buddies that have Allisons are badass boats and they're fast as hell, you know, for a B-bottom. But like everybody just embraces, if you're into boats and you like boats, it doesn't matter what you have. Just get out there, go boating. You know?
Bring your family.
Yeah, bring your family.
kids.
Get your kids to liking boats because
Get your friends
it's cool.
addicted, so then they start hanging out with
Yeah.
you. And then they buy a boat, and then
I'm guilty as hell about that. Like I'll be like, "Hey, you want to go boating?" It's like, "Hey, you want some candy?"
well, that's why I got my old aluminum boat. I'm at work or something. He flicks me over this marketplace ad, and it's this boat full of trash sitting in a field. He's like, "This thing's badass," and it was like what, $300 or something. And I'm like,
Yeah,
"We need to go get that."
it's like
You're dumb if you
8
don't.
degrees out that day.
yeah,
Ice
Which
that
boat was
day.
that?
my
That's the one he's putting a
20-foot
sports
boat
in.
that we're
my
about
1960.
3/4 of the way done with.
The guy was literally getting ready to send it to the scrapyard.
Yeah, it was headed to the crusher if we didn't
So he
take
sold it to us for basically scrap value, and and just the thought of something that old and cool.
You'd never see it again.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah, and this is like a boat that we can't even find on the internet. Like you can find everything on the internet, right? If you've got something, somebody's got a club for it most of the time, right?
Yeah.
This boat, we literally can't find one piece of literature that they ever made it.
And I think the reason is
What's it called?
It's actually made by a company called Duracraft,
That's right.
and it was a big company, relatively speaking, for the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. They're actually still in business.
Yeah.
But
Really?
when we looked up we tried to look up the model, and we could find. You got to think back in 1960, the highest outboard was 85. So if you think about the performance of an 85 horsepower boat and what that would really push in today's standards,
Ariel, you should try to look that up. 1960 Duracraft boat.
it'd be 1960.
You never find it.
You're not going to find it.
I wonder what will come up on Google Images.
You find cabin cruiser versions with like the very early style.
Yeah, those are cool.
I like that.
You'll find that with a early style like a Mercury inboard, which had like a 200 horsepower. And I think the reason why you can't find any of the outboard versions is simply because
There's only
they
3 of
didn't
them
make
ever
enough
made.
horsepower to.
So there's a very
boat.
small amount of them.
So there's a very small amount, and you even got to think back in the 60s, if you bought a boat with 2 85 horsepower outboards, it was still taking fact for inflation today. Like if
No, it's a high dollar boat.
If you were a guy that bought a 19-foot boat and you had 2 85 horsepower Johnson or Evinrudes on it, like think of what a new boat with
Baller.
back in the 60s, yeah. If you
Like a new 21 Skater if you could buy it.
that probably cost more than 3 cars back in the day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool stuff.
And it's just crazy how it just goes like under the radar, just kind of disappeared, dies off. I mean, does it have a title?
No.
No.
Don't have a title.
They didn't have titles.
You
back
don't
then.
need those.
Well, we
you'd-
have to get them inspected by the State Patrol, and there's a process you go through to title one of those old boats. You have to have a title in order to get MO numbers and be legitimate.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I asked that.
Yeah, there's a way to get to it.
We made arrangements. It's going to be
Hey, would you throw that back up over here? You don't have to throw it up for the people that are listening, but these ones that were on there wasn't like that.
No.
No.
Those are
3
similar
times
to
the
what I
size of
have.
One of those.
19 foot. It might give you the,
Oh, I see. Because those are 15 footers.
and that's a lot.
Like the Coca-Cola boat there, that's like my 57, basically.
that is.
Yeah, it's the same
With
boat.
Oh, it's a 15 footer. You're 57.
Yeah, 14 or 15, I forget what it is, 14 something.
Actually, if you go up, that Dura Cruise, that ain't even it. But
Oh, I see.
no, you won't find it.
2-row seating. Did yours have 2-row seating like that?
He could have 5 rows.
Right.
It's huge.
Oh, it's that long.
It's like
It's just huge on the inside.
It's huge.
You won't see one.
You won't see it. We tried.
Interesting.
I think Kayla, my wife, even called the company with the thing, and she asked if they had records.
Nah,
Nothing.
Yeah,
not
nothing.
gonna find any of that.
Does it have a VIN?
There's a serial number.
It's a serial number, not a VIN.
Yeah. That's the thing with
HIN
most of these older boats. Like, I've got the one. He's building one. One of the guys down at our Merrimack Mafia properties, he built one last year with a Rotax motor in it. It's
Badass.
It's a tan one, right?
yeah. I mean, it's really freaking cool. Dave Larone's his name. Built it all by himself.
That one's a 16 or 17 foot.
Yeah,
Figured yours
a little wider. Yeah. This year, I've got a Lone Star down at the shop that we're working on swapping a sport jet into one, like an old. It's got fins and everything. Dave's got one that he's been building now for 6
over the
months.
winter.
Yeah, over the winter. Just getting close.
That one's a Yamaha or a
Kawasaki.
Kawasaki motor. So we're taking jet ski motors and just using whatever we can to put them into it. But like literally, you can build your own cool old school jet boat.
If you're
for
not
next
afraid to get your
nothing.
hands dirty.
You got to be able to work
Gotta
on
weld.
stuff and weld with aluminum. But like the average guy can go out and buy a $1,500 jet ski, a Yamaha 1100 jet ski that's got
Right up.
intake and everything. That's what I did. Find an old $500 boat, and I mean it was a little bit of time and welding
willing to
wire.
learn.
I will say that's the problem with a lot of people today is their instant gratification.
They don't want to put the work
They
in.
don't.
They don't want
A
it.
lot of people don't want to put
the
6
effort
months
in.
worth of work or
They'd
more.
rather go work for somebody and say they're going to buy it when they realize how much they got to work for that guy to buy what I just built.
Yeah.
You can't.
Bought, not built, right?
Can't.
Whether it's fiberglass, like restoring a fiberglass boat or building a race boat, it's all the same thing. It takes a lot of time.
When you guys are learning, you guys learning from each other. You guys
Oh, yeah.
Googling
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah,
From
I mean,
each
that's
other,
part of it, man.
Google, fucking shit up, all of it.
He's got specialty.
Can you Google it though?
He's got specialties.
Is that
We all
kind of
do.
stuff out there?
you can YouTube. I guess how to
mean, we're all
Teach
YouTube
anything
certified.
you want.
Yeah. Well, so I've done some things that I couldn't even YouTube. Like it's just hard to find online.
On a lot of things you can't. You can YouTube all you want, but until you actually physically go in and do it and mess
That's-
it up and have to fix it, you're not going to learn how to do it.
That's
I
actually
can YouTube like TIG weld like a mofo, man, but when it actually comes to it,
down
I
to
can't
it,
do
right.
it at all, you know?
Yeah.
And the other cool thing about boats in general is there's a lot of
Maybe one other one?
ways.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot of ways to get a good end result. Like there's no set instructions to.
You guys want to take a piss break?
Sure.
Or is it just
Or is it just?
is it just Dave?
I mean, I'm fine.
I'm fine.
All right, we'll keep rolling then.
Dave.
Yeah, that's fine. I was listening, Andrew.
I'm just saying that there's more than there's a bunch of different ways that you can build a boat, and you know, you can have the same. Somebody can have the same hull, and you can outfit it and fit the interior, or you know, the way it's set up, completely different from the guy next to you. But
Should I double shot him? You think?
He'll be fine.
You want me to double shot him? No. Okay. Well, you said something about your road tax. Is it road tax or road tax?
ROTAX, Rotax.
Road tax. And who makes that motor?
Bombardier.
Bombardier.
Sea-Doo.
And those are hard to get right now too.
impossible.
Not just hard, but impossible to get, yeah.
And is it because of the chips that go into the for the running the motor, or what is it that's so hard to get on them?
That would be a great answer to have, but I don't have that answer.
They won't tell you.
Yeah, we get no response from anybody. It's frustrating because when you plan like a platform, like we've built boats literally around that motor platform. I think I got 5 or 6 sitting on the ground right now with those dedicated intakes and stuff into them. Still can't get motors. So it's frustrating from a boat builder standpoint, but it's across the gamut. Like if you order a new outboard jet with a 300 on it, you're a year out probably.
Like Mercury, I think Bombardier, for instance, they own a couple of their own companies, and they're making the Sea-Doo.
Dave, you want to grab one of them? I poured you a shot in it, but I just didn't get up to get you club soda.
The Bombardier or BRP, they own their own boat companies as well, and since their demand is so high, they're going to fulfill their own company's orders and engines before they sell the packages to Gator.
I think there's a lot of factors in that, and there's the distribution issues with the distributor in the U.S. I mean, I think there's issues there, but it really doesn't matter what industry you're in. I'm in the body shop business as well, and I mean, getting a taillight for a 2018 Honda Accord is impossible sometimes. You know,
Has it happened? Did it get so difficult after COVID?
Oh yeah.
Is that what the big?
Everybody blamed it on that, and I'm sure that's what caused it all. But then it just kind of spiraled, and it seems like it's
For
the most part
the marine industry, you have to say the marine industry.
The industry
COVID
exploded during COVID.
with COVID.
It was like everything. It was like the RV industry. It just
Yeah.
exploded.
Anything outdoors?
It didn't matter.
Because you could get a boat and you could go out and just float on the water. You don't have to be around people. Same thing with side by sides.
You couldn't buy a side by side.
Kurt Dreemeyer, he said he has off road armor. It's an e-commerce business for the side by sides, like parts and stuff for it. He said that was the best. He's just got early in his business then, and he said he blew up then. He said it was so great for him because everybody
Any outdoor business
stuff.
blew up then.
Yeah,
The amount of boats I see on the river anymore is crazy.
Yeah.
Like I go out during the week by myself a lot. just because I enjoy it out there and I'm able to do so. And prior to
You
the
should
whole
explain
COVID
where you're
thing,
living for the summer. That's kind of pretty cool too.
in an RV down by the river. Got a boat ramp and a dock. That's all I need.
You are a true boater.
He practices what he preaches.
Yeah.
And prior to COVID, I'd go out and it would literally be me.
Yeah.
Nobody else on the water.
It's crickets.
Now it could be Tuesday, and I'll go out now, and it's 60 degrees outside, and I'll at least see 2 more boats. And you go down to Grafton, and there's boats in the slips. People up in the bars eating, drinking, doing their thing.
On the Mississippi, the marinas are full, or the nice one.
There's a waiting list at most marinas now for boat slips.
Like ours, you're on a waiting list.
And same goes with the camper spots that are there's a lot of camper spots, but they're kind of in certain areas. Not everybody wants a bunch of campers along the river, but the ones that are there, I got lucky and was able to get in where I'm at. But everywhere else is full.
I believe it.
There's a list.
I believe it. It really grew. We even out here in Rosebud, there was a gentleman that started an RV park because it blew up so much, and I think he probably has
In the middle,
And
of
he's
Rosebud?
probably got people
he built.
knocking on his door every day.
It's not even done yet, and there's already RVs
just
in
a party spot.
You know what? I really don't know what it is, but it's pads with hookups and everything, and I think what it was is, I think from what I understand, everyone that had an RV from the city, St. Louis area, they always traveling to Lake of the Ozarks. It was cheaper and safer to be able to keep them in a town like Rosebud. They can just store it there. They can drive down from St. Louis. They're already passing through.
On their way.
It's on their way.
Oh.
Stop in,
Got that, yeah.
grab their RV, head up. Rosebud's a nice little town. We got some bars,
yeah.
antiques, stuff
Good
like
idea.
that. But he put basketball courts on it. He put like a common area where people can go and hang out. Playground for kids, big lake. I mean, he did it up. He did it nice.
And there's a lot of people that love that.
Yeah, it's not even done. I bet there's 20 RVs already in it.
Yeah.
I bet there's 150 spots in it.
Good for him.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great idea. It was a great
Yeah,
idea.
that'll be a home run.
I think so too. Yeah.
You ought to do that.
You should.
I thought about an RV just like storage.
Storage, yeah.
At one time.
I'm not trying to have y'all live in here, but
They would be though.
Be shacking up.
Yeah, they would be. They're like, well, I'm paying for it.
that's how I feel. It's better than the RV was sitting behind my house. I mean, it didn't cost me a dime sitting there, but it's just there.
Yeah,
At least here I can use it,
yeah.
and there's a boat ramp 50 yards away, and
Well, it starts to, when you're not using something, it does start to wear out.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
When stuff just sits, you got to be flushing the toilets. You got to be running water through the pipes.
Absolutely.
You got to be running the motor, man.
Yeah,
Circulating oil.
yeah. Oh, I've seen some people. I've seen people live in a storage unit before. I've seen people living in a storage unit.
Pretty
before.
rough.
I have not. But
That's why I don't
never
know.
say never, my friend.
Well, I think this gentleman actually burnt it down. I remember. Well, I was working in a body shop one time. There was a storage unit next to it, and you walk out the big garage door where I would pull a car up to go into the paint booth. There was an open bay where I'd tape the car up before I pull it in, and right next to it was, right outside the door was a storage unit. And there was a gentleman living in it, and
that's cheap rent.
yeah, $50
things
a
cheap,
month.
yeah.
Once a month.
Yeah, super cheap. Not for the people that owned it though, because I think
I
he
guess
ended
he
up burning
just
it
had
down.
like
Oh,
one
utilities,
little,
really,
one
I
light
guess.
bulb, just
I think he had TV in there.
Well, I mean, I guess you could probably rig yourself some power to.
You get one of them light bulbs or those things that screw in. You can plug a couple things in the top
Like
there.
6 or 7. You get about 4
Gorilla
outlets off
tape,
of that.
gorilla tape. Yeah, you know, some outlets down the.
Yeah.
the
Make
walls.
friends with the neighbor, you can steal from theirs too.
Yeah, I had a runner doing that for me once. Was living in my house. It was crawling in the neighbor's basement. It was a renovation, so the guy wasn't ever there. He was crawling in his basement, and he had an extension cord running from his basement through the basement window over to my yard through the back window of my house, and he was running his stuff out of it.
Nice.
I couldn't get him out. Yeah, it was right during COVID, and
Those are the stories that worry me.
yep. And it
I've been
happens.
lucky. I've been lucky so far in my rental thing, but it's only been a year. There's a lot more years to go.
Oh, yeah. You got plenty ahead of you.
Yeah, and you won't expect it. I remember the way I found out was I followed a Gasconade, or his Gasconade Sheriff's Office on Facebook. My property's in Gasconade County, and it said, I seen a post on Facebook that said there was a they had you kick in the door of a house and chase a guy down from the 900 block of Maple Street.
And that's your house.
And I was like, man, that's close to home. I got a place over there. And then it was a couple days later, ended up driving by. Well, something needed to be fixed. And I sent a guy over to work on it. And he was telling me, he's like, man, you got a big hole in your door. And we're sitting there talking. And I started thinking about that post. I'm like, that was my house.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then that's whenever it's like, okay, we got to do something. We got to evict this guy. And this guy wasn't even my tenant. It was my tenant's boyfriend.
The squatter.
He was a squatter. She packed up. I told her she had to get out. She packed up immediately and got out. She didn't want to be this guy.
And he didn't.
And he didn't. He didn't. He knew how to work the system.
Yeah.
And
Took
it was
you a while to get him out, probably too.
It did. It did. Yeah, because it was a whole
6 to 8 month process.
No, it wasn't that long.
I mean, if it can be, is what I was getting at.
If they work it right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, this guy, he definitely knew the system because they know that as long as they don't get served, they never have to go to court. So that's what actually hung it up the longest because the guy
Actually being able to serve him.
Yeah, because
You find him?
Yeah, you have to find him, and if he doesn't come out of the house, they can't just leave it on the door, even if they can see him inside.
They have to physically hand it to
They have
him.
to physically hand it to
Hey,
him.
can you see him sitting there in that rocking chair? Hey, come here.
Nobody's home.
Oh, thanks.
Dave's not here.
You ain't getting me out.
He's not here, man.
That's how it was too. Because I showed up one day beating on the door, and nobody answered. And I go around because the window's about like face height, and I peek in, and all I see is this guy peeking around the wall, my end wall, just peeking around. I can just see half a face sticking out, and I start yelling at him, come open the door, and he straight up told me, he's like, I thought you was the cops. He's like, I know they're gonna serve me. He's like, I wasn't gonna answer. He figured out what the cops because the cops come in like their own private vehicle. He found out what they drove and everything.
Nice.
And so I had to call them. Like, you guys can't be driving the same vehicles. You guys got to be a little more tactical on this because this is not this guy. This guy's figured it out. And so they
Those are
did.
the stories that make me want to sell my house while I can.
This was a house that I completely redid down to like wiring, all new flooring, all new drywall, paint, lighting, cabinets, everything.
That's my house now.
I wasn't even 6 months in, and I think this was October when I moved them in, and it was January when this happened. Fuck. And yeah, they were on heroin because I don't even know if I can. So basically, I took the guy to court and went through the whole process. And there's a gentleman that I know who is a great dude, but definitely had a rough background. Spent some time in prison.
I know some of those.
And I mean, he's a great dude, super nice guy, would never do you wrong, cleaned his life up, but he's still got the rough character look. And he had heard me over talking to my attorney on the phone one day, and I was at the gym, and the gym like had doors, and the attorney called me, and he's like, what was that about? And he just kind of overheard the conversation. This guy was actually going to move into my house right before I moved this other person in. And I was like, well, you remember that house you're going to move into? The people that moved in, they basically trashed the place, and now they won't get out, and I'm trying to get them out. And I had actually, that was my attorney call and say I got the writ of eviction. So I had 10 days before I could kick them out. And he's just like, oh, okay. And then I go, this is 3:30 on a Friday. Now I go home, 7 o'clock. I get a message from this guy, and he said, hey, your house is empty. I'll be there on Sunday if you want to come by and change the locks. And I was like, what? And the dude ended up just showing up to the house. I don't know why he did it. Just like I said, good dude, but he just showed up to the house, and he's a big old dude, face tatted, bald head.
Maybe I better just.
All right, I'm gonna head out.
I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, he went and just kicked the door in. He has not Rottweiler, pit bulls. He has 2 pit bulls. Came with 2 pit bulls on one hand and a shotgun in the other, and kicked the door in. He said the dude just took off running out the back door.
I think I would too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who to call when I have a problem?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can legally do that. That's something you don't want to do.
I would say no.
Yeah, and he ended up screwing all the windows shut. He boarded all the doors up for me, and he's like, I'm going to go there Sunday, get my dogs back, and he's like, I'll clean the place for you too. And
Oh yeah.
I paid him to clean it. Yeah,
Did you give him a gym membership?
He has a gym membership. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy. That was one of the craziest stories, but they completely trashed my house. I had to redo it all again.
Yeah, that sucks.
Damn.
Yeah. New flooring, new painted the whole house again. I mean, they had holes in the drywall. They destroyed doors. They had their dog in the back. They quit having, which if I was driving by, which it happened quick. Like, I could slowly, when the lady came and paid, she was, every time it got a little dirtier. Her teeth, like one time she came and she was, she was like always dressed nice. And then the next time she came, she was wearing pajama pants.
Tweety Bird.
Just watched it go downhill.
Yeah, I was watching it. Like, I was like, that's kind of weird, but whatever. Next month, her teeth are a little dirtier, hair's a little messed up. A month after that, she doesn't even want to come see me. She just wants to drop the rent off and leave. And so it's kind of like red flags are popping up. And then it was that last month was when it happened. And but it happened fast, and they piled up all their trash outside and burned it outside, and it burned the siding off the house.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cat pee or something,
They just kept their dog in the back room, and he pissed all over the floor.
Be fine.
That was the basement of my house.
Be fine.
It's hard to get rid of that smell.
To be fair, my house wasn't in the best shape when she moved in, so I wasn't too worried about how she was because it was going to have to be redone anyway. Mm-hmm. She was happy with it. I said, "Cool, do what you do." But
it gets down.
It was pretty gross.
Yeah, it soaks in. Like
dog piss downstairs and everything. Ooh.
It soaks in. It's hard to get out.
Yeah,
you got to rip like everything out.
Boat game sounds better all the time.
Yeah. Problem with boats is they don't make you that much money a lot of times.
I don't know. Lance and Randy seem to be doing all right.
Well, he just said he has 5 boats he can't even get rid of right now.
Yeah.
That's not great.
That's the bad part people don't see.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard to make money when you can't ship them out.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard to sell boats that you can't build. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about because you told me you have found like kind of a method to getting some boats out. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's awesome if you can get parts. We've got the production now to be able to do it. It's just getting parts. And I think that's across the industry. Like, even the big boys, MTI, they're struggling to get motors. My buddy down at the Lake of the Ozarks, Brett, he's struggling to get motors for boats. So it doesn't matter you can't buy a new Ford truck right now.
Yeah. It's still hard to get new trucks because of the chips.
Go buy a new Platinum diesel Ford.
Can't do it.
Yeah. Good
Really?
luck. Thoughts and prayers.
I actually heard someone, they were wanting to buy a new Bronco, and they said it was over a year out. They won't even put them on a waiting list because it was so far out.
Yeah, they shut the order.
And I'm glad I'm not trying to buy new stuff.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're building something new, you've got a product shortage somewhere, I think. And it's not just us. I mean, I'm sure the reason you can't get a new Mercury is because they can't get the hose that they need for this or
dumb
this.
Stuff.
Yeah,
Little
the
things.
dumb stuff, but it's just part of it.
And then in the industry, that kind of industry, you don't have a lot of options where you can go.
Sometimes no, like on the Rotax stuff, if you build a hull around something, then you can change stuff to make it and modify it. Like we can do that. Fiberglass, you can do it too, but it's just, man, it cuts into your time. It takes a lot of time to do that. So it's easier if you can just order something and it shows up.
Yeah.
And it's probably better for just production of like when you're building these boats. Well, they're all custom order though.
Everyone's custom, but there's a baseline that you start with. So they're all custom. They each have different interiors, but it's just different colors of interior, different flooring, or paint's usually different, and different motors. I mean, each one's individual for sure.
Yeah.
When someone comes to you and they want to buy a boat, and they're just like, I want to buy a boat.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of boat?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what do you want to build?
Is there people that come to you like that?
No.
They don't know what motor, they
yeah.
don't know what size. So like, this is
I
what
wouldn't
I'm...
say all of them. I mean, a lot of guys know exactly what they want, but yeah, people show up like, man, this is what I want to do. What do you think?
Yeah. I feel like if I was going to go and buy a new boat, that's what I'd have to do.
Yeah, that's what I did literally with these guys. I'm like, what do I need? I didn't know. I got into the prop world in the small boats. Like, I didn't know anything about it, really.
In a rather radical boat, too, though.
Yeah.
Modified bottom boat that didn't drive like most of them boats would.
Nah, that thing was badass.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying it took a little extra effort.
You're
My,
changing
my
the
wife
boat
would
would.
disagree with that statement.
Your wife didn't like it?
She in fact hated that boat.
That's not what
She
she
expressed
told
her
me.
hatred for that hull.
Hence the new one.
Hence the new one, which is much better.
But did you know? Did you not? You just didn't think it was going to be that way with the modified bottom?
I didn't know what I was getting into, man. It was cool looking.
It was a good.
Like a lot of work, or was it
good?
rough
It was a
ride?
good learning boat for you.
Oh yeah.
Because
to answer the question, it was a HydroStream, and it was what year was that?
87, 88.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. So mid '80s, kind of an air entrapment hull, like like our tunnel hull.
It had modified tunnels to where the tunnels would release once the boat got all the way up, to where then it basically became just a V bottom, which in turn was a little bit.
That was a
more-
custom made bottom.
It was just
had been customized.
a guy that knew what he was doing. Basically, flipped the boat over and basically
Reshaped
just
the bottom.
think of just taking an inch or two out of the back tunnel part, so when the boat's riding, the only part of the boat was just the center. So the tunnels were out of the water at that
Floating
point.
at that point.
But you had to drive the hell out of that boat.
You had to know what you were doing, and that's another thing. Like when it comes to piloting any high performance boat, especially a padded V bottom, if you were just a regular Joe that's like, oh, this thing's a fast boat, we're gonna hammer down and hold on,
It's gonna scare the shit out
you're
of you.
gonna crash.
Or get scared bad.
And
So was it hard? It was hard just to cruise in.
no,
It was a learning cycle. It's like anything else. It's not a boat that you just get in and go 90 mile an hour in. You know, at 65, it started getting weird.
you're
wanting to chine walk. The motor's wanting to flip the boat over all the time. So you're
Gotcha.
correcting that. So you're doing this, and it can
balance
about the
act.
fourth
You're
time it gets
constantly-
violent to where you're going out of the boat sometimes.
the way a way to explain it is the boat is constantly trying to
Correct it.
Yeah, it's almost like it's high centered a lot on the water.
It's correcting itself.
and you as the driver simultaneously you are making driving adjustments. So you're going straight, your boat's straight as an arrow, and you're basically you're running the steering wheel and making slight movements,
Yeah, I understand.
and basically
balancing it.
you're balancing a boat, and up until you get to a
Sounds like it'd wear on a guy.
it's
Yeah,
There's
riding all
differences.
day.
Like
It can be.
there's that style of boating, and
You don't have to drive it like that either. Like I can cruise 60 in my boat,
Yeah.
take my hands off the wheel, turn around, do whatever, and it just goes straight as an
whack
arrow.
a kid.
You have those style boats, and then you have like what Andrew and I both now have what's called a Mirage hull. It's a tunnel hull. It's got 3 pads on the bottom. At
A lot of
100
guys call them training wheel boats.
Yeah, at 105 mile an hour, you
You
can
can do the
literally
same thing.
let go of the steering wheel. Like they drive themselves.
It's a different type of boat, so they're both high performance, but a V bottom requires a lot more driver input. You
got to pay more attention.
You got to pay
You got to
attention.
drive the hell out of it.
It requires a lot of experience to not only to drive but to cross a wake. Like if you're going over a set of rollers, if you go over a set of rollers.
It can get rowdy real quick.
See ya.
To the moon. Yeah, we had a buddy. They just got in the boat. Where were we at Chattanooga? Remember this couple had just gotten this boat, man, and it's a HydroSeams, same boat I had that my wife hated.
She exited the chat.
Yeah,
Of course, his wife wasn't it.
Yeah.
she has left the boat. We were in front of them, and literally the exact same boat. But we were sitting side by side, my wife and I, and we hit this wake, and I mean, it was a big houseboat or like a
Some cruiser.
or something.
Trawler.
Man, it was throwing a wake about like this, man. So we hopped it to the moon, and landed right and kept on going. Well, this dude
Didn't do it right.
He didn't quite hit it just right. And not to
Dumped his wife out of it?
so like literally.
She won.
Not to say he was a bad driver. He's actually a qualified
driver,
pilot,
yeah. It
but
just-
just anything can happen.
It could have happened to me just as easily. Like it just hit right, and all of a sudden, man, she's like sitting in the back seat behind him, and next thing she knows, she's in the air, and she's like, "Oh man, this sucks!" And then the boat goes. She's like, "Oh, I'm out of the boat now." And bam, in the water, dude.
I bet that's scary.
Oh, you lost your phone.
It
was cold.
She was telling me that story, and I was dying.
Man, I felt so bad for her. We didn't know it. We kept on rolling. We get to the bar and they
That
come
was
rolling.
that was in October too.
Gosh, she was
The
drenched.
water was
trooper.
not warm.
She was a trooper, man. But
Trooper.
So it gets violent sometimes if you don't hit things just right.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, performance boats, like if you're in chop or something, especially the smaller stuff, jet or outboard, it's not. A lot of times we don't even really go out a lot in the like a busy summer day because
Saturdays,
because you're just
rough,
gonna get the
man.
crap beat out of you.
Because everybody else out there.
Everybody else is out there.
Cruisers are the worst wave makers. In wakeboard boats, but
Wakeboard boats.
Oh God.
by the way, we have a new line of wakeboard boats coming.
It's called the Dock Rocker 2000.
We actually do, but I don't know if we'll call it that. But
Well, I gotta take a leak, you guys. Ariel, how long are we in this podcast?
Just under an hour and a half.
all right, I've got to actually go pretty soon too. So I
Yeah,
got to
that's
call
probably
it
good
quits.
because I got a wedding I got to be at this afternoon.
Yeah.
My eyeballs are floating right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
I want you guys to put STL Go Fast on there.
Yeah,
Both of you guys already signed it, but
Yeah.
we need to get at least Dave to sign it.
right on.
Maybe Dave could be the signature by STL Go Fast. If you guys all want to sign it again, you guys are more than welcome to.
Nope.
But you guys are at least already on it. But STL Go Fast.
Right on.
Definitely one on it. Thank you guys so much for coming on the
thanks for having
podcast.
us.
Yeah, I think everybody's really going to like it. I think all the boaters, there's a ton of just big boater fans
chat,
around here.
man.
It's funny that I'm on, if you guys are interested, go on Facebook. Is it on Instagram too, or just, it's mainly Facebook, right?
What?
STL Go Fast.
Oh, it's mostly
Mostly Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah, so just look up STL Go Fast on Facebook. Jump
I would
in.
also add like the same thing to STL Go Fast would be Merrimack Mafia. It's the same thing, but just
Just a different genre.
Just a different. It's the same setup, but just the Merrimack Mafia group is shallow water jet boats,
Yeah.
whereas the STL is like the
Same
Mississippi
mindset,
side.
though.
Same mindset.
Yeah.
I was just saying anyone
Same good
that's
people.
interested in getting in boating, or it is
Either
boating
way.
around here.
Both of them.
Yeah, jump in one of those Facebook groups because I'm in the STL Go Fast, and it's actually amazing how many people in my local area that I didn't even realize that were that big into boating are in STL Go Fast.
A lot of people just follow it because it's cool stuff.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Same thing with.
I actually enjoy seeing what you guys are doing. Like, I'm not boating, but it's like I do. Like I
We're
like
having
boating.
fun.
Yeah, it
And
does
you're
look fun.
promoting
And I could
just a
see
fun lifestyle.
one of these days I'll buy a boat, and yeah, I probably will be out there
Hurry up.
joining you guys. And yeah,
Come on.
yeah,
Yep.
I probably will. It depends. I might get a wild hair in one day and do it, but
I highly recommend that wild hair. Just saying.
Hurry up.
It's not a liability.
yeah. Well, all right. Thank you guys so much for coming on. If you guys are listening to the podcast still, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and we're off. Peace.
See ya.